Good morning. My name is Abe Friedman. I work for Borough President Eric L as the Intergovernment Director. Welcome all to Borough Hall this morning. Thank you for joining all our honorees. It's always an exciting day when we have the Heroes of the Month, which we'll hear pretty soon from the Borough President. It's a way for us to thank those individuals that went beyond the call of duty to make a change in people's lives. So we're excited this morning, and without further ado, I would like to introduce the Borough President, Eric L.
Thank you so much, Abe, and you are so correct. We enjoy doing our Heroes of the Month because oftentimes we hear about bad news and it begins to define who we believe we are and who we are as not only Brooklynites but New Yorkers. And everyday New Yorkers are just pausing in their daily interactions to impact the lives of so many. And this is how we like to pause and just reflect on their actions. What we hope would take place is that when someone reads the story, watch it on the news, or hear about some of these good deeds, it would encourage them also to give in a very real and tangible way. Today we are honoring both the months of January and February 2019, and it's a diverse group of public servants and faith leaders and small businesses who have all the same thing in common. They are committed to helping those when there's nowhere else to turn. Far too often, people reach the end of the line and don't have anyone else to go to. As you hear some of the stories, you'll see that without these organizations and individuals who are experiencing a very trying and difficult time won't have another outlet. There is a gap that is in governmental agencies and the services that are needed. And if you don't have everyday Brooklynites and New Yorkers to fill that gap, people will fall through that gap. And that is why it's important that we acknowledge those who are standing in the gap every day and saving lives. The first person is always, I always enjoy doing a member of the NYPD because, as you know, as a former police officer, once a cop, always a cop. And our first Hero of the Month is for January. We have NYPD Sergeant William Hart. Sergeant Hart joined the NYPD in 1998. He volunteered to be part of the emergency service unit. That is the police officer's police officer. When it gets extremely difficult, you call emergency service unit. They will take it to the level of expertise and experience. So he's the finest of the finest as a member of ESU. He was part of ESU Truck 8 in Brooklyn and Truck 3 in the Bronx. He was promoted to sergeant in 2016 and since has served as at the police commissioner's office working on quality of life issues. Sergeant Hart served 21 years in the U.S. Army and New York National Guard, serving in tours in Afghanistan as well as Iraq. He, at approximately 5:10 p.m. on Tuesday, January 15th, Sergeant Hart was walking from Brooklyn along the Manhattan Bridge, conducting a quality of life inspection when he encountered a distraught young man who had already climbed over the fence and was sitting on the ledge ready to jump. You could only imagine the scenario. He experienced this while seeing a person probably in one of the most darkest periods of his life. And Sergeant Hart immediately took action. He climbed the fence and brought the teenager to safety off the pedestrian path. We cannot thank him enough, especially when you look at a young person in a state that he was thinking about taking his life. If the sergeant wasn't there, no telling what would have happened. We see so many times what happened on some of the bridges, such as the bridge leading into New Jersey or the bridge leading into the Brooklyn Bridge or the Manhattan Bridge. It often leads to a traumatic incident, but because Sergeant Hart was there, he was able to save the young man's life. And to any New Yorker, especially young people who feel depressed or disillusioned for any reason, that they should know that they don't have to suffer in silence. The mayor has done so much around this conversation, and we encourage encouraging them to call 888-NYC-WELL, 888-NYC-WELL. But in this case, we want to really thank Sergeant Hart for turning a tragedy into an opportunity for this young man to move forward in his life. We're hoping that this young man is in a healthier place today, but he's alive today because of the action of Sergeant Hart. And Sergeant Hart, we want to thank you for not only continuing to sacrifice on the field of battle in Iran, in Iraq, and Afghanistan, but also for protecting the people of the city, as well as saving the life of a young man during a very difficult time. So whereas on behalf of all Brooklynites, I salute Sergeant William Hart for saving a 13-year-old boy who was about to jump off the Brooklyn side of the Manhattan Bridge. I applaud him for utilizing his 11 years of training with the New York City Police Department Emergency Service Unit, climbing the fence to grab hold of the teenager and helping him down to safety. I commend Sergeant Hart for his dedicated and unwavering service to the New York City Police Department, playing an important role in keeping Brooklyn and New York City safe. And I thank him for all that he has done to touch and improve the lives of many, helping to move our communities forward as one Brooklyn. Eric Adams, Brooklyn Borough President, Sergeant William Hart.
Appreciate it. I'd like to thank everybody. There's been a lot of friends in the past have come up and congratulated me, but I think as a police officer for 20 years, the most important part about this job was encountering such a young man in this scenario. That has never happened to me before. So hopefully this scenario will help identify maybe some people, like you said, sir, that are slipping through the cracks, because I never thought a 13-year-old would be in that position. So it's all about making sure we check out on each other. I think that's pretty much all I need.
Thank you. Congratulations. Take a picture? February's Heroes of the Month are a group of local businesses and service-based organizations provided free services to federal employees during the government shutdown. These organizations include the Catholic Charities of Brooklyn and Queens, the Kosher Soup Kitchen Network, Masbia, Massage Outpost, a clinical massage therapy studio in Dumbo, Greenpoint, and Williamsburg, Sweet Chick, a popular chicken and waffles destination co-owned by NAS that has location in Prospect Heights and Williamsburg. The CEO is not here today because he had to do a television interview, but he does send his regards, and we want to thank him. When you think about, for 35 days, many of our federal employees were part of the government shutdown that the president instituted. And it is difficult enough to go through that shutdown during the normal part of the year, but the shutdown took place during the holiday season. A total of 51,000 federal employees in New York City and the surrounding area did not receive paychecks, according to Senator Schumer. Based on data from the New York Times analysis, we know that most missed more than $6,000 in wages. While the median federal salary is $77,000 annually, about 1/5 of employees make less than $50,000 a year. Many said they had less than 1 month of savings. The shutdown had a deep impact on residents. When you think about residents of NYCHA or people or individuals who are really trying to make ends meet from paycheck to paycheck, those who were food stamp recipients, and it disrupted everything from air travel to tax collection. So it was not only the employees who were impacted, but also those who received the services that they provided was also impacted. So there was a cascading effect on those who were in need. It's thankful for us that a number of groups stepped in And with their acts of kindness, both big and small, they really helped to fill the gap and restored the employees' dignity. Catholic Charities, an organization that we are very familiar with here in Borough Hall. We have done so many things with the organization. They sponsor more than 160 programs every day, ranging from affordable housing to emergency assistance. Continue to serve New Yorkers during the shutdown, organizing a special food pantry with thousands of dollars worth of food for affected government employees. MASPIA, who is an organization I'm so familiar with that I spent so many times sitting in their soup kitchen, and they serve their clients with a level of dignity and respect in the Borough Park area, and the number of people who come through their doors who are in need on a normal time is a large number, and they were able to provide this service to our federal employees. They have locations in Borough Park, Flatbush, Forest Hill. They went beyond waiting for people to come to their doors. They went out and they gave flyers to TSA agents at JFK and LaGuardia, letting them know that they could eat for free and pick up groceries at their pantries. Massage Outposts offered free 1-hour massages to government employees who were without a paycheck, helping relieving stress. Sometimes we think about the physical need and don't really acknowledge the emotional needs of people who are really struggling to make ends meet. And what I enjoy so much about Massage Outpost's gesture was that they said, what can we give? You know, I like to call it the little drummer boy mindset. If all you can do is beat the drum to alleviate someone's stress, just beat the drum. And they were willing to do so with their massages. And Sweet Chick cooked up free meals for federal employees who went without a pay. And I think the quote from CEO John Seymour really resonates and talks about the moment. It's less about the politics, he states, than it is about the people. When we look at 35-day shutdown, when we look at the governmental actions that are happening in Washington, D.C., we sometimes get caught up in the headlines and believe that it's about the political atmosphere and not about the everyday families who are impacted by our actions in politics and in local government. It is about the people. We should never forget that. And the people who we are honoring today, they did not forget that. And so we want to thank them for putting people first. So many of our neighbors in need are recognized the great businesses and organizations as February Heroes of the Month. Thank you very much. Okay. So for Catholic Charities of Brooklyn and Queens, on behalf of all Brooklynites, I salute Catholic Charities of Brooklyn and Queens for providing free food and services to federal employees affected by the government shutdown earlier this year. I acknowledge Catholic Charities of Brooklyn and Queens for impacting lives and building communities while serving neighbors in need with mercy and compassion since 1899. I applaud the organization for providing relief and for helping to ease the tension that many individuals faced during a time of uncertainty. I commend the Monsignor Alfred LaPinto, CEO of Catholic Charities of Brooklyn and Queens, for the exemplary leadership he has shown and for providing hope during a time of despair. Eric Adams, Brooklyn Borough President to Catholic Charities of Brooklyn and Queens. Thank you. Thank you. You want me to step over here and take a picture? Say a couple words?
A few words. Well, I'll tell you, when we, it was actually through our food pantry network. We have about 20 all through Brooklyn and Queens. And it came up with the whole, they were saying they were seeing federal workers come to them. And so it was really out of the inspiration of the people that we serve that they said, can you help? And so we went back to Monsignor Lopinto, our CEO, and we decided we needed to dedicate some resources to give some badly needed aid. And it was touching to see many of them that came to our food pantries, the difference it would make when they were living paycheck to paycheck, to be able to take care of some of their pantry needs, have a little gas money. We had gas cards, different things like that, things that just help them function. And it was our privilege, and certainly it was beautiful stories and touching people who really inspire us every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And our good friend from Maspia, on behalf of all Brooklynites, I salute Maspia for providing free hot meals and emergency food packages to federal employees affected by the government shutdown earlier this year. I acknowledge Maspia for serving over 2 million meals and roughly 100,000 hot sit-down dinners each year. Amazing number. I applaud Maspia for providing relief and for helping to ease tension that many individuals face during a time of uncertainty. I commend Alexander Rappaport, Executive Director of Maspia, for the exemplary leadership he has shown and for providing hope during a time of despair. Eric Adams, Brooklyn Borough President, Maspia. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor. It's a great honor to be here. I'll just say what we did was kind of small, but it's kind of what we're doing here today again. Awareness is very important. And when I say awareness that there is help out there. There were, I forgot the number you said, but it was a kind of a large number of families that were affected, but they didn't know where to go. What we did, we went out a couple of nights with Laura, and we kind of went through all the security checks and gave out flyers for people to tell them there is help available. There is help available. So I hope if with this awareness, with this award, kind of with this recognition, that awareness is even more furthered and more people know we are there. We have 2 sites in Brooklyn. We're here to help, and more should come when needed.
Thank you. You want to say something?
Yeah, say something. No, why not?
Okay. And the final organization that we're acknowledging is Massage Outpost. And again, we cannot thank them enough for really going beyond the call of service, hearing the large number of families who were without any form of paycheck or income. They just met people where they were. So on behalf of all Brooklynites, I salute Massage Outpost for providing free 1-hour massage to federal employees affected by the government shutdown earlier this year. I acknowledge Massage Outpost for being a women-owned, body-positive business with the mission to provide a pain-relieving experience for patrons. I applaud the organization for promoting a sense of relief and for helping to ease the tension that many individuals face during a time of uncertainty. I commend the owner of Massage Outpost, Rachel Biter, for the exemplary leadership she has shown for providing hope during a time of despair. I, Eric Adams, Brooklyn Borough President, to Massage Outpost. Thank you so much.
Thank you. As a massage therapist, our job is to make people feel really good. And during this stressful time, I wanted to make sure that we were there for people who were very stressed. I feel really privileged to have helped. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.